This is a sports catastrophe production.
Hey there, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond and welcome you to another sports catastrophe on this day. And on this day, February 13th, 1999, one of the greatest arenas in history shut down. And that would be Maple Leaf Gardens, as you can see in the picture. Maple Leaf Gardens is still around. It used to host hockey games, but has been reconstructed for other uses. Today, it's a multi-purpose facility. Loblaws has retail space on the lower floors, and Ryerson's Arena is on the top level, known as Mattamy Athletic Center at the Gardens. It is a cathedral of hockey, home to the Leafs from 31 to 99. The Leafs won the cup 11 times, from 32 to 67, while playing at the Gardens. The first NHL All-Star game was held because it was a benefit for Ace Bailey, who had a career-ending head injury. It was actually home to the Toronto Huskies when they were in the Basketball Association of America, which was the forerunner to the NBA. The OHL's Toronto Marlies, the Toronto Toros of the WHA, the Toronto Blizzard of the North American Soccer League, the Toronto Shooting Stars of the National Professional Soccer League, and the Toronto Rock of the National Lacrosse League. Heck, even the Buffalo Braves, before they went to San Diego and Los Angeles as the Clippers, they played 16 regular season games at Maple Leaf Gardens. The Raptors actually played 6 games at the Gardens for a few years, mostly when Skydome was unavailable. It was only one of the few venues outside the U.S. that Presley performed in concert, and Maple Leaf Gardens hosted Game 2 of the Summit Series. So basically, the Leafs wanted a better arena. But the weird thing is, because of the Depression, things look bad for getting the money and all that. However, due to Conn Smythe talking about telling the workers that they can actually get less of their money, but put investment into it, basically saying that we'll pay you less, but we'll give you stock, and the workers took it. And Foster Hewitt sold these programs online, on the radio and all that, for 10 cents each, and basically there were a lot of people who got it. The weird thing is that Maple Leaf Gardens started construction June 1st, 1931, and actually was constructed in 5 months for a cost of $1.5 million, but that was 1931 dollars. In 2018 money, that's $24.4 million. The Gardens opened November 12th, 1931, which was amazing. The Leafs ended up losing to the Blackhawks 2-1, though. Attendance on opening day was 13,542, which was decent for an arena at that time. Ironically enough, the Leafs would actually win the Stanley Cup on their ice, on Maple Leaf Gardens ice, in their first season. There would be a lot of wrestling attractions and all that. Wrestling would have a lot of shows in Toronto at Maple Leaf Gardens from 1931 to 1995. Boxing even was a regular thing. There were a lot of things happening and all that. And Maple Leaf Gardens was the site of the first game in the Basketball Association of America /NBA history, Toronto facing New York. Toronto ended up losing that game, I think, by 2 points. Ironically, in that 46-47 season, for the NHL, Maple Leaf Gardens was the first arena to have plexiglass in the ends of the rink. Smythe was the majority owner of the rink in 1947, following a power struggle and all that. Rock and roll concerts would be there. And then basically, after Conn Smythe sold his shares to a 3-person partnership formed by his son Stafford with Harold Ballard and John Bassett, they added new seats in 1962 and a private club, the Hut Stove Club. More seats were added in 1965 and all that. And hockey capacity reached 16,485. They made the seats narrower so that only a young man could sit in them, and only a fat old rich man could afford them. And they removed Queen Elizabeth II's picture to make room for seats. Ballard responded, "She doesn't pay me, I pay her besides." What the hell position does a queen play? Oh, brother. The Leafs were so popular that the team sold out every game from 1946 till the end in 1999, which is amazing. Advertising was sold in place throughout the building. Maple Leaf Gardens in 1963 would be the first arena in the NHL to have separate penalty boxes. The Beatles made 3 stops in Maple Leaf Gardens: September 64, August 65, August 66. Conn Smythe actually resigned from the board of directors because they were scheduling a Muhammad Ali boxing match at the Gardens. And Conn Smythe did not like Ali's comments about the Vietnam War. All that. Clay was a draft dodger. All that. But in 1966, a new center hung scoreboard with a digital clock was installed, replacing the Sport Timer, which was an analog clock. One of the designers of the new scoreboard was Paul Morris, who was actually the PA announcer for the arena, which he held from 1960 to 1999. No, at 1961 to 1999. And he's still alive. I thought he was dead. But anyway, yeah, for 38 years. Unfortunately, Ballard and Smythe would steal money from the Arena Corporation for their personal expenses and all that. There was a trial to happen. Ballard got a couple years in jail. Stafford Smythe died 6 weeks later. So Ballard got majority ownership of everything. Well, that didn't do too well. You know, there were a lot of people, you know, that there were a lot of concerts and all that. The Leafs did sell out every game throughout the Ballard era, even though the performance went into a steep decline. Ballard wanted private boxes. Unfortunately, in 1979, he decided to have the staff tear down the gondola from which Foster Hewitt always broadcast games across Canada and threw it into an incinerator. I mean, he could have given the gondola back to the Hewitt family. Then in 1982, they did another scoreboard, which actually made it a color matrix animation screen on each side, which basically meant that, you know, it would be more modern and all that. Toronto basically got a WHA team after Ottawa decided to get rid of their franchise. Unfortunately, Harold Ballard basically made it an effort to make sure that the WHA teams would pay a heavy price for using Maple Leaf Gardens, obviously because WHA and the NHL were competing at that time. So basically, he did whatever possible. The Toros' lease was $15,000 a game. However, the arena was dim for their first game. Ballard demanded $3,500 for the use of the lights and didn't want the Toros to have the Leafs locker room, forcing them to build their own. And he removed the cushions from the home bench for Toros games. Bassett then moved the team 2 years later to Birmingham. Unfortunately, the Maple Leaf Gardens would also be known for its sexual abuse things. In 1987, there were allegations that a lot of Gardens employees sexually abused young boys in the 70s and 80s. Basically, it was just terrible. One guy pleaded guilty to sexually abusing 24 boys and was sentenced to 2 years. But an appeals court increased it to 5 years. In 1999, Usher was convicted of sexually molesting 26 boys and 1 girl. And he was supposed to be in prison for the rest of his life. But he died in jail. Dennis Moran, another security guard, was found guilty of sexual assault. You know. Jeez. But then after Ballard died, Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment would basically get the franchise. The executives were Steve Stavro, Don Giffen, and Don Crump. Not Trump, Crump. Stavro paid off a loan that saved the team. In return, he was given an option to buy Garden shares from Ballard's estate, even though that Ballard wanted his assets to go to charity. In 1994, Stavro got control of it. He bought the shares for $75 million. All that. So yeah, it was amazing. Unfortunately, Stavro would become a terrible owner in a sense because he wasn't out for the good of the team. He was out for the good of his pocketbook. As the book, The Leafs, What's Wrong with Them and How They Can Be Fixed by Al Strachan said, basically he was money hungry. Worst of all, that was because it cost them Wayne Gretzky, because Wayne Gretzky was about to be wanting to play for the Leafs for at least 1 or 2 years. And basically Stafford says, how many seats will that bring? Well, of course, the arena was sold out every time. So basically he put money over anything else, the team. So that's why Gretzky could have been a Leaf. Of course, through the 1990s, they wanted to try to find a place to replace the ancient Maple Leaf Gardens. The Leafs didn't want to occupy the Air Canada Centre, which basically was supposed to be for the Raptors, because they wanted 2 new arenas, one for hockey, one for basketball. But when Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment got the Raptors, the Air Canada Centre was retrofitted to fit both hockey and basketball. The Raptors played their final game at the Gardens February 1999. And then the Leafs ended the tradition playing at Maple Leaf Gardens on February 13th, 1999, suffering a 6-2 loss to the same team that they faced in the first thing, the Chicago Blackhawks. Doug Gilmour scored a goal, and Bob Probert was the guy who scored the final goal in Maple Leaf Garden history. There was an emotional post-game ceremony. All that. However, Maple Leaf Gardens wasn't really dormant. The Toronto Rock of the National Lacrosse League played there, winning 2 titles and all that. Then they moved to the ACC. There were a lot of people that said that basically things would look terrible. Now, honestly, I don't like the fact that they remodeled the stadium to make it retail and all that. I really wanted it to be more of a hockey shrine and all that. I know that Montreal went under that same thing too, but but at least they have a hockey rink. It just doesn't feel like Maple Leaf Gardens when you watch a game on TV with Ryerson's hockey team. Sorry, that's just me. But here's the thing, though. As much as I really hate to admit it, it's a good arena. Well, at least it's still in use. So anyway, Maple Leaf Gardens was the last of the original 6 arenas to be closed. Detroit was first. Contrary to popular belief, Joe Louis Arena was not part of the original 6. Detroit played in the red brick arena known as the Olympia from 1926 to 1979. Then they moved to Joe Louis Arena. Then now Little Caesars Arena. Second went... No, technically the Rangers were first, because the Rangers played in a Madison Square Garden from 1926 to 1968, but that was in a different location. That was Madison Square Garden 3. In 68, they moved to Madison Square Garden 4. So yeah, the Rangers, then the Wings moved out. And then I believe it was Chicago. Yeah. Third was Chicago, because they were around Chicago Stadium from 1928 to 1994. They closed in 94. The Leafs ended up closing that building for hockey in the playoffs. 95 was Boston Garden, which closed. Well, Boston Garden was around since 1928. So 28 to 95, Boston played at Boston Garden. And then the Forum in 96 went down. Forum was there from 24 to 96, 72 years, which was the longest original 6 arena. And then the Leafs from 31 to 99, 68 years. So yeah, it was the last original 6 arena to close. Take that, Montreal. So anyway, that's the legacy of Maple Leaf Gardens. I'm Jeff Diamond. Adieu.